got a drill set up to drill pilot holes, and it's set so that it won't go through the other side. Get those two in position. There's one. There's 4 holes in each side here. Okay, now that I got that in place, I can take these clamps off and put the other 2 in. Okay, I'll have to find another screw. Okay, so that'll fit in here like this. And what will end up happening then is this will be up on the ceiling. This will come and slide in like that. Oh, I don't know if you saw that. May have had it too high for the camera. Okay, we'll have one of those on each side. So I'll go ahead and do this other side and then come back. Got the other one attached over here, and as you can see, this is probably a better shot. It'll slide on like that. So I think to make it easier to slide on, I'm going to take a file and I'm going to round these edges a little bit so that it has a way to guide in easier. So I'll come back after I've done that. I ended up doing 2 things. I ended up rounding the edges off here all the way around on the inside, and then I also ended up rounding off the leading edge of the wood piece so when it slides in it's less likely to get bound up on a sharp edge. It's going to end up sliding in like this. The next thing I'm going to have to do is drill some holes in this to mount screws that'll go into the ceiling. But I'll need flathead screws, which I do not have here, so I'll have to wait on that. And I think that's about as far as I can go tonight. I may go ahead and drill the holes and mount these onto the shelf also. Since the last video, I've gone ahead and hooked the 2 sides on with the same kind of pocket holes for the screws that I showed in the last video, or the first video, I don't remember which one. And I'm getting ready now to drill the holes through the brackets that will hold it to the ceiling. I've done a test drill on a spare piece here, and what will end up happening is I've got a hole, first of all, that drills all the way through. Then I enlarge that hole on one side, and I don't know if you can see it on this, it's countersunk on the inside. So I had to drill the hole big enough here to get the countersink through. And the screw will end up going into that hole and countersinking so it's flush in there, it won't be seen. And then it will mount, this will go on the ceiling first. I can put the screw up through this hole into the ceiling, and then it will slide on like that. I'll have a hole drilled in the side of these other brackets to lock this into place once it slides on. So the 2 pieces are like this. So I've already got it pre-marked here, and I'm going to center punch it and drill the pilot hole first. So let's go ahead and center punch this, just so that we have a spot to drill and the drill doesn't tend to wander. So I've measured this channel depth. It's about 5/8 of an inch, so I've gone 5/16 as my center line here. And I've spaced 4 holes out, 1/2 inch from each end, and then the other 2 are evenly spaced. Okay, I'm ready to go ahead and drill the through hole all the way through, so we'll move over to the drill press next. Okay, I'm set up to drill the hole that's going to go through both sides of this channel. Okay, I'll drill this other piece and come back. Next step is to drill the large hole on one side. I've pre-marked this so I know which is the correct side to drill in, because I've filed one edge here that feeds into that wooden slide easier. This is a 1/2 inch drill bit. It's pretty large for this little drill press, but I'm going to make it work. I'll just take it easy. The good thing is since this is a small drill press, if it gets bound up, I'll probably just lock up the drill press. I'll go ahead and finish these up and come back. I'm reset up here with the countersink bit. This one's the smallest one I have. It'll barely go through this 1/2 inch hole, and it doesn't have a very long shaft, so I'm having to mount it kind of farther out than I'd like. Anyway, I'll go ahead and countersink these and get ready for the screws. So the first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this countersink bit before I start. Make it go a little smoother. I'll probably do that after every hole. Does a pretty nice job. You can see it in there. Okay, I'll go ahead and do the rest and come back. I've changed to some older clothes, so I don't care if I get dirty. I got my gloves on for staining. I've got some Minwax here. This is Red Oak number 215. I've got a little paintbrush to paint it on with, and just a piece of old t-shirt to wipe it off and even it out, and just a screwdriver to open it up here. And I'm going to start with what will be the top side that's up against the ceiling, because I'm going to end up on the bottom side, which will show these two surfaces will be up against the ceiling once it's all done. So what I normally do is brush this on, get all the corners, and just get it covered, maybe go over it a couple times, make sure it's fully covered. And once it's fully covered, then wipe it down with a piece of cloth. This is like an oil base stain, so it goes on real nicely. It may not look as even as you want. You don't want it to dry without wiping it off, because if you let it dry, you'll have uneven marks in it. But this takes quite a while to dry, so there's a lot of open time. And I'm making sure that when I go in here where these screw holes are at, that I've gone in there with a brush real good. Some of this won't show, but I still want it covered. So I won't stay on camera for this whole process, but I just wanted you to see what it looks like. You can already see I'm getting it on this glass table, but I'll clean that off a little bit later. And this goes quite a ways, and you don't have to use much. Okay, I'll go off camera and finish this up. I wanted you to see what this looked like before I went any further. I've gone ahead and gone over it a couple times, and the stain is soaked in. I got it fully wet, and now I'm just going to even it out, wipe it off to make sure that I don't have any excess and it stains unevenly. And then I'll flip it over and do the other side, but you can start to see what it's going to look like. So I'll come back in a little bit. Okay, I just finished putting the stain on the top side, and I'm going to wipe it off. Again, I went over it multiple times, rubbed it in real good, so I got a nice even coat and it's penetrated. Now you can start to get an idea what it's going to look like. Probably what I'll do here is I'll wipe this off and then go over it one more time after another couple minutes here, just to make sure I don't have any fingerprint marks or anything like that, or any uneven areas. Because you can get like a run or a mark and not realize it until it's too late. You don't want it to dry that way. So that's about what it's going to look like. Okay, and I'll probably let this dry overnight, and then I'm going to lacquer it to give it a nice finish. That's all for now.